Hello, everybody. Tina Hogan Grant here for my regular Cuppa A Natter that I do every other Monday. I like to invite fellow authors into my home. I'm an author myself. I have, oh my gosh, I think I have 6 books out. Yes, 6 books out, and I'm working on book 7. If you can see me or hear me, leave a comment. And tonight I am joined with Bridget Ring and her husband, Jack Ring. How are you guys doing tonight?
Oh, thanks, Tina, for having us.
Doing great, thanks.
Yeah. And I'm the author of 5 novels, and I'm halfway through my 6th novel.
Yay.
And Jack is he's written 2 novels. And tell him what you're doing.
Working on a third one, the 1860s wagon train.
It's a historical fiction.
Wow. Okay, before we get into the books, let's find out a little bit about Jack and Erina. I'm going to be nosy here.
Okay.
But I do want to say hi to a few people. Diana's here. Teresa, Michelle Ann Waite. She's here, and I'm seeing a few Facebook users. That means that you're watching me from the group, which is a private group. So what you need to do is go to the top of the post of the video and click on Give StreamYard Permission so I can see your name. It won't show me your name because you're in a private group. So if you want to just go to the top and click on the blue link, and that will give StreamYard permission to show me your name. I'm here with Erina and Jack Ring. They are both authors. They are married. How long have you guys been married?
43 years. And what's your always typical answer?
43 years. Okay. Where did you guys meet?
In Indiana, when I worked at a bank.
Oh, now is this the bank from one of your books?
It's the idea of one of my books. It's
and
not
the book
real
was.
Nobody's gonna ever know the bank. Sorry.
Oh no! I'm not asking for the name of the bank, but Breakfast with the FBI. That is from that bank.
And Jack sent me. Oh, can I tell you something really sweet?
Of course.
So 44 years ago, I got a card from a secret admirer for St. Patrick's Day.
Aww.
So 44 years tomorrow, I received my first card from Jack, and he asked me out the next week.
Aww, that is so sweet. And you have how many children?
3.
3 children, and how many grandkids?
4. 4
grandkids. Wow.
And with the pandemic, we don't get to see them as much as we would like to, but we get to see them in the backyard. So if we've done anything, we've made the backyard pretty awesome looking.
Oh, I bet, but the kids will love it.
That's where the kids come and run around. Your kids come too, don't they?
Yeah, they'll be up here Friday night for the weekend. Yeah. They'll be coming up. I gotta have them at least once a month, otherwise I go nuts. I know.
Who said that?
I know. We're gonna talk about your books. That's one of the reasons why we're here, of course. I'm gonna start with Erina. You have 5 books out right now, or 6? I've lost track.
I'm on my 6th novel.
You're on your 6th novel. Do you have a release date for it, or do you have a time frame of when you want to bring it out or get it out?
I've really buckled down. I took this year. It was so distracting. I usually write in restaurants, and since the restaurants were closed, I couldn't write. I got writer's block.
Oh no!
I've never had that in my life. So I took advantage of using the time to promote, which I've done. I've learned to use Facebook. I've been on the book clubs a little bit. I'm getting Jack's books out there. It's been a process, and it was actually a great year to do that. And now I'm voraciously writing.
I love it.
It's
fantastic.
just pouring out of me, and all these new ideas are coming, and it's great. But I've always had the whole idea for this book,
Right.
and
Yeah.
it's going to be eye opening. It's about a country club,
Mm-hmm.
women in a country club,
Right.
and it's got Facebook in it.
Oh boy.
So I've been really observing this whole
Mm-hmm.
year. So it's been fun. And Jack is busy writing, and he's one of these people that gets up in the morning and just puts on blinders and goes to work. I'm the one that has to clean everything before I get it done.
Now, do you write every day, Jack?
No,
Do you write?
no. Takes me about a year to put out a book. My first
Uh-huh.
one took about 10 because I was just writing it because I used to have to travel to Korea, Taiwan,
Oh
Japan,
wow.
and then also to Europe. And I did a lot of reading, and then
Mm-hmm.
my partner said, "Well, you need to go to Korea," and I just had been read out, so I took a tablet with me and started scratching out a story, and
Mm-hmm.
after a while, it took form. Uh, I joined a San Francisco book club, and that led me to an editor and published the first book. Never had any intention of the world to publishing anything. It's just something that happened because you just kept at it, kept at it.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I I sort of write. I'm still pretty busy. I coach at high school, and I still play a lot of tennis. So it's sort of I work on it when I'm in the mood,
That's
and
great.
I can go weeks without working on it, and then I'll work
And
on it
then
five
you'll
or
get
six
back
days.
to it. And
Yeah.
I know you have 2 books out right now. Are they both based on 2 events?
Uh, my first book is about a 17-year-old girl growing up in Normandy during the Nazi occupation,
Oh my.
and
Look at the
she
camera.
she is drawn into the resistance and ultimately becomes a resistance assassin. The um, I started that book because I was reading a lot about the Northern European campaign in World War II, and the book originally was going to be about my father being attached to Patton's army, and he was going to have a romantic interest. So I figured, well, it's got to be a girl, it's got to be in France, so it needs to be the resistance. I
Mm-hmm.
started researching it, and the entire book ended up being about women in the resistance. So my father ended up on the editing floor, and the book itself is based on um, women in the resistance and things that happened to them. I combined them into all happening to one person. So
Okay.
everything that happened in the book did happen, but not to one person. It happened to different people
So
in
you just
France during
combined
the
it
war.
into one. You just
Yeah,
combined it into
yeah,
one.
sort of went
Oh, okay.
one from one
Let's see the
situation to
cover
the
again.
So
Wow. Let's
that's
see.
what this one is called, Red Sky in the Morning.
And that's the one he was just talking about.
yes.
Yes, and it's the World
Okay.
War II historical fiction.
Okay.
So
And then I'm going to just say hi to a few more people. And if you guys, I'm with Jack and Erin Ring, married for 46 years, 46,
43.
43.
43.
And they are both authors, which I think is fantastic. But let's say hello to Janet. Janet is here. If you have any
Oh,
questions
hi,
for
Janet.
Jack and Bridget, go ahead and post them, and I would definitely read them to them. Kathy, I can't say your last name, Kathy Yowie. Yeah, she's gonna kill me for that
Oh,
one.
hi, Kathy.
Okay,
I
you know
know.
who I mean. Peggy
Hi.
Patterson is here. She put this up. I'm gonna put this up for you. She says, very interesting. My father was in World War II, and while he was in France, fell in love with a girl over there, and that's a story in itself. Oh,
That's awesome, Peggy. That's
that is
great.
so cool. That's so
So
cool.
it was so interesting when Jack was writing this novel, and he wrote it for 10 years, and he needed to get an editor, and like he said, we went to the Historical Fiction Society, and he found this woman named Carolyn Woolston, who took him on as to edit his book, and we went down to Monterey to meet her. And had we not gone down to that meeting, she would never have asked me what I was going through, and I would never have written. She was the one that got me inspired to write my first book.
So Jack was writing first before you
Yes.
started, correct?
Yes.
And then you jumped
He made
on
it look
board.
really easy. Yeah.
Right.
He,
I
he-
think
he
Jack
just-
just answered this question from Peggy again, but I think you just answered. Did you, Jack, do your stories have to do with your travels or include travels at all?
They do. I first sort of got inspired because my partner, who's a generation older than I am, we were at a party and I met his wife, and she said she's in Belgium and lived there during World War II. And I was doing this reading, and I said, "That's interesting." She said, "Well, I was a member of the resistance in Belgium." And I said, "Really?" And she said that she and her best friend were crossing a bridge in Belgium going over a canal, and there was a Nazi officer leaning over the railing of the bridge looking down. And she says, "We walked up behind him and pushed him off the bridge and we killed him." I said, "Whoa." I said, "How old were you when that happened?" She said, "I was 17. So
Oh, wow.
my character of Marguerite is, how does a 17-year-old, which is a junior in high school, come to a point that they can commit murder and just shrug it off, even 40 years later? So why? And that's what led to a lot of the reading, and that's how the story sort of evolved. How does a person come to be that way, a 17-year-old girl? And
talk about the mindset.
Yeah, and so as part of all of this, I got to travel to France on business a couple of times. And so I said, well, you know what? Why don't we just go to Normandy and meet up with somebody? So we hired a tour guide who met us, took us up to Normandy, and she introduced us to a member of the resistance who was a child at the time, and also to a number of people. The guy that she introduced us to, we're driving down a road, and she says, stop. I gotta talk to this guy. So she jumps out. She's talking to a heavy set guy, and of course they're jabbering away in French, and I don't understand French. And he stops and he looks at us, and there's a tear rolling down. And then he said, "Au revoir," and off he went. And she got back in the car, and I said, "What in the world was that all about?" She said that he was so taken that an American would be interested in what we went through during the occupation that I couldn't talk to him.
Man, wow.
Yeah.
And I was there on that trip with him.
You were there, Rona?
Yeah, it was fabulous, just fabulous.
So that's the answer, is between my partner's wife and this trip we took. That gave me a sense of what the people in that generation, of my parents' generation, went through when the Nazis were occupying. And after talking to people, my sense of the book completely changed. As for what went on and that kind of thing. And so I ended up having to rewrite it, and that was sort of the evolution. So I hope I answered your question.
Yes, you did. And that book came out what year? What year did that book come out?
2014.
I think it's copyrighted 2013.
Hold on, let me see.
Okay.
2015.
2015.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it came out right after we copyrighted it. So it's only been a couple of years.
So I actually published my book in 2014. They see you in 2014. And Jack was in the middle of his very heavy. How many pages did you say you had in that?
Well, I had the book originally had 134,000 words.
Whoa, that's a big book.
Yeah, it was.
When my editor got done with it, it was down to 80,000.
That's about the norm.
Yeah, she cut out about 40% of what I had written. But in doing that, I learned how to be a lot more concise and take out a lot of run-on sentences. And once you've said something, put a period. Don't continue to explain. That kind of, yeah. So, and I'm an engineer. So by law, I'm illiterate. So So I had a lot of learning to do while this editing was going on, and it was interesting. She was good to work with.
Yeah.
And you still have the same editor today? You have the same
Yes.
editor, right? Both of you have the
We
same
do.
editor? You have.
Yes,
Wow,
and
you
it's
keep her busy. Between the two of you, you're keeping her really busy.
oh my gosh, and she's so sharp and she's wonderful. Her name,
Does
she goes
she,
by Lena Banning. She's
is
written
she
31 or 32 novels.
is she
Lena
local?
Banning.
Is she in your neighborhood? No.
Monterey.
Mono.
So we
Oh, up
got
north.
yes, we go
I
twice a
know.
year to go see her. And
When
we're
this
gonna meet
pandemic,
up that time.
I know,
Remember?
when this pandemic's over with, we're gonna. The next time you're in Monterey, we're gonna meet
We
up for
have
sure.
to do that.
It's about I'm guessing, but I think it's a 6-hour drive for me, which isn't too bad.
It's about 4.
About 4 for
Yeah.
you?
And
Okay,
it's
about 6
about
for
4
me.
for us.
About 4. Yeah, we'd love to do
That
it.
will be fun. That would be so much fun.
Yeah,
I
we're
would
definitely
really
gonna
enjoy
do it. Yeah.
But oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, I'm just wanting to tell the readers, I still am seeing a lot of Facebook users. That means you're watching from my group, which is a private group. You need to go to the top of the comments, or maybe above the video, and click on Give StreamYard Permission. And that way I can see your name. It's because you're in the group. If you're on my author page, which is not private, you won't get that. But I'm only seeing a Facebook user for a lot of you because you're in the group. Yeah. But I'm here with Jack and Bridget. We're going to jump over to Jack's new book, and then we're going to talk about your book, Serena. Jack just had a book recently come out this year. What year would, what month did this come out?
Oh.
No, November.
Of 2020.
Yes.
2020.
Yeah.
This one I want to really read this one. My father was Irish. Hogan. Right? And he's actually buried in Ireland in Sligo. He was laid to rest in Sligo next to his grandfather.
That's right. That's right above Mayo County.
Oh, did you ever go to Ireland or travel to Ireland or live in Ireland or family in Ireland? What inspired this book?
My grandparents came from Westport, just in County Mayo, just below Sligo. And although I haven't been back, almost everybody else in the family has. And the inspiration of this was that when I was in high school, my grandmother told me, my family was machine gunned by the British. Well, really? She says, yeah, kill everybody. But my sister and I, we hid under a mattress and they'd kill everybody else. It's not in the book that incident was in the book. But what I didn't put in the book was she and her sister were 2 of 18 and the British killed everybody else. My grandfather's brother, Joe Ring, was a leader of the IRA up in Westport. And I started to get interested in the book and started researching it. And I found a book on Amazon about the revolution in Mayo County. Oh, okay. It was published in Ireland, but I got it through Amazon. It's The Flame and the Candle, or The Candle and the Flame, one or the other. So I got the book, and so I'm reading it, trying to do the research. And all of a sudden I realized on the cover of the book was my Uncle Joe. And the whole book is about my Uncle Joe, and his exploits. So I took this fictional point of view, which is of Bud Ryan, and I had him go in and be drawn into what was going on in the book. And the book is 80% true. So
okay, that's good to know.
The story of my family. And after the British killed my grandmother's family, and they were after my grandfather's family, Joe Ring was killed, and they decided they better get out. So they came to this country, and of course, the only jobs open to the Irish in the 20s was police, fire, and the railroad. And
that was it?
That was it. It's blatant racial discrimination against a certain white people. People don't understand that. But he came, so he got one job available to him, which was on the nickel plate, and he was an engineer on a big locomotive. And even when my dad My dad was getting into the job market right at the end of Irish Need Not Apply and all of that kind of stuff. And the main thing that happened to my father and his generation was that they lost their Irish brogue. And of course, ring is not a name that's normally associated with the Irish, but that's when you were starting to be able to get jobs and start to advance and everything once you've lost your Irish brogue in this country. It's not the case today, of course. Today you're charming if you have an Irish brogue, but back then it was not too cool. And one of the things that started to turn it around, of course, was the St. Patrick's Day parade in Chicago and in New York, when Richard Daley and all of the Irish cops and the Irish firemen and every started putting on these parades. And then there was a series in the 50s of movies featuring Irishmen like Bing Crosby, Barry Fitzgerald. And then all of a sudden, after you've lost your brogue, it started to be acceptable to be Irish in this country. But that didn't happen until the 50s or 60s.
I didn't realize it was the 50s or 60s. I thought it was a lot earlier. But I guess the 50s or 60s when it became accepted. Because St. Patrick's Day is one of my favorite holidays. I absolutely love St. Patrick's Day. I really do. I'm half Irish, the name Hogan, but I have so many fond memories of my dad. I'm going to tell you one little story real quick. But my dad lived in Sligo, and he lived in a small town called Jamere in the county of Sligo. And it's a beautiful little town in the countryside. But what there is a lot of pubs.
Right. Yes, every corner.
My dad, without fail, every year will call me on St. Patrick's Day. That was his holiday. Forget Christmas, forget New Year's. St. Patrick's Day was his holiday. And of course, now that he was living back in Ireland, he celebrated even more. But he will call me, like drunk, tipsy, whatever. And he'll say, it took me all day to go shopping today. And I'm like, well, why is that, Dad? And he says, well, there's 15 pubs between my house and the shops. And I got to stop in and say hi to the locals before I wait to the store.
Oh, how fun.
He stops in every pub. I know. Oh, gets his shopping done. And then he has to stop in the pubs on the way home.
Oh my gosh.
He used to crack me up.
My grandmother's family that was wiped out, their home was right at the foot of Croagh Patrick, where legend has it that St. Patrick drove the snakes from Ireland. And of course, my family says we didn't drive the snakes from Ireland until we had our own republic.
Wow. I like that one. I do. Let's say hello to a few more people. I want to check if we have any questions, and then we're going to shift gears and talk about Bridget's books and what she's been working on. Raina's here. She says hello.
Hi,
and Leisha is here. She says, here we go. Right here's Leisha. Your new book sounds very intriguing, Jack.
Thank you.
This is what I'm seeing. She says, I'm not sure if I'm showing either. I don't have my StreamYard login. You don't need a StreamYard login. You just have to click the blue link at the top of this broadcast. And that will give me permission to see your name. It's because you're in my group and the group is private. You don't have to log into nothing. You just click the link. That's all you have to do.
Hi,
someone's saying, Bambi's here. Someone says, I see you, Bambi. So Bambi's here.
Oh, Bambi made it. Oh, good.
She's here. We've got a lot of people here. I'm trying to not miss out on anybody. Denise is here, and she says,
Denise.
Here's Denise. She says the Irish Storm was so good. This is one I'm really going to pick up and read. I want to read this one because of my family background.
Thank you, Denise.
So I'm really, oh, yes, definitely. Let's see. Who else is here? I don't want to feel like we're ignoring you people. Dana Duplantis is here. There she is.
Hi, Dana.
See, we're all here to talk to Jack and Erina or Bridget. Holly is here. There's Holly.
Hi, Holly. Holly, I'm so sorry to hear.
Yes, good to see you, Holly. Good to see you.
Holly.
Then we have Michelle. Oh, we can see you now. There she is. There we go. Yay. She clicked on the link. Okay, we're going to switch gears and we're going to talk to Erina about, oh, wait a minute. Ruth is here. You don't, well, Ruth, I can see your name. And Ruth, look what Ruth bought me today. She sent me a shirt from Peculiar, Missouri.
Oh, that's off. I can't see it. Oh, there it says Peculiar.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Oh.
Let me get rid of this. See? It came in the mail today.
That's awesome.
That's cute. So I had to wear it. I had to wear it.
I don't have any green on today.
Well, she sent me this in the mail as a little gift. She sent me this and some earrings and a calendar. Totally unexpected. So I'm going to wear my shirt today. So thank you, Ruth, for the shirt. I absolutely love it.
Wonderful.
She's so sweet. Erina, so you have, I already asked you this one, 5 books? 6 books out?
5.
Oh, you have 5 books out?
6.
You're on your 6th
novel.
Okay, which one do you, well, we can talk about all your books. You have a lot of books. All your books, I've not read all of them, but I've heard nothing but good things about all your books. I have read The Neighborhood, and that was hysterical.
Funny?
That was hysterical.
Wasn't Gladys a hoot?
Well, I mean, my only place I can read is in the bathtub. That is like, if I want to go read, it's in the bathtub. And I'm in the bathtub and I'm laughing out loud. And my husband's like, "Are you okay in there?" You know?
What was Gladys doing? Oh my gosh.
Oh, I don't remember. This is a few months ago. But Gladys is my favorite character in that book. She's just yeah.
She arrived one day. She wasn't in the book. If you want to, that's fine. So she arrived in the book just one day when I was writing chapter 2, and I started laughing out loud. And I thought, oh, I have to have this woman. And sure enough, you know, everybody has a neighbor that at a certain time puts the garage door open, gets their lawn chair out, and starts watching. We have a lot of people like that. And over the years, I've lived in, I've moved 16 times growing up, and Jack and I moved 4 times. So that's 20
that's a lot.
Locations.
That's a lot.
When I started writing this book, I stopped when I got to chapter 3, and I got really nervous. And Jack even told me out loud, he probably doesn't remember this, but he says, "If you're writing about our neighborhood, you better not do that. That will not be good." So at that point, I stopped and I surveyed all my friends across country. I gave them a list of 20 questions. They answered back, and holy cow, we all live in the same neighborhood.
Yeah, see?
I was blown away at everybody has somebody that watches.
I mean, forgive me, I've forgotten the characters' names. It's been a long time since I read the book, but I told you that one of the characters is like my husband, the hunter with all the animals on the
Hunter blowing his foot.
That's my husband.
Oh my gosh. And so what happens? I write the book, I get the survey back, I find out we all live in the same neighborhood. I'm laughing my head off writing this book when I'm out and about. And it was such a difference writing The Neighborhood than it was like Knit 2, Purl 2, Kill 2, where I was bawling my head off writing that book. So I'm trying to put different types of personality within each novel. And now I'm getting into a groove where I don't have to stay with one type. It could be happy and sad and all the different emotions. But The Neighborhood was so much fun. And let me tell you something that's hilarious. The book came out. We had a book signing. When we do book signings, a lot of the time, Jack brings his books and he signs also. And it's so much fun. It's been like a family affair for us. And he had Red Sky in the Morning when I was doing the Neighborhood. And we got home and 3 of the neighbors came up to our driveway, hands on their hips, and said, "Why did you write about us?" I said, "Oh no,
you won." But they told you, when I was reading, the character Gladys sticks in my head because she's just a fantastic and funny character. And it was funny. I was in a friend's car like the day after I was reading your book, and she had a bobblehead on her dash. And you know, Gladys would make a cool bobblehead in a car. She could be looking out the window with the binoculars.
Oh, that's a great idea. Thank
You should make some Gladys bobbleheads. I swear.
I'll have to look at that. But yeah, with the binoculars and
yeah, she's looking out the car dash. But Gladys popped in my head when I saw her bobblehead in the car. I'm like, oh, Gladys would make a great bobblehead. She would. You should make some.
I'll have to look into that. I definitely, I have to say, this has been such a journey, a quick journey on Facebook. I would never in my dreams was going to be on social media. And here I am. And boy, did I get in here in a big way. It feels like I really blew in, and all the book clubs and everybody's so wonderful. It's been just incredible. But there's so much to know. And I keep joking, I need to write a book on what to do on this Facebook because nobody knows. I'm always calling people to get advice because there's always something that comes up that you need to know. You seem to know it all.
Oh, I don't. I'm still learning. I mean, I'm lack of sleep. I'm up till 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm constantly taking classes on stuff. Constantly. I take classes on, right now I'm doing a class on Facebook ads, mastering the Facebook ads so that you get the clicks, the hits. I did another one on self-publishing for authors. I just did that class. That was, I do a lot of classes. So that way I know what the hell I'm doing. But it's constantly, it's a constant learning.
It's constantly evolving, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
Changing.
Yeah.
And I think this year, the pandemic was a really good reason for me to really focus on Facebook and what people do in book clubs and how the interaction happens and what happens with those interactions. And do you need to have those interactions? And yes, you do.
You do. You really do. I mean,
have to have those
when my dad was an author in the 70s and the 80s, it was a completely different industry. There was no social media. There was no internet. There was no self-publishing. He went to a traditional publisher, and they pretty much did all the work for him as far as advertising the book. And he got an advance check and wrote more. And that's all he had to do was keep writing those books. But now, 40 years later, it's a completely different industry where authors not only have to write a book, but they also have to learn how to market themselves and how to, if you're going to self-publish, you need to either do the publishing, the formatting, everything yourself, or hire people out. It's a completely different industry.
Can you imagine Ernest Hemingway in the 20s and 30s writing those big, thick books, typing a page at a time? And if you made a mistake, you either retype it or type over. How much work it took to put out a book. Now with the word processor, you just go crazy.
I know.
That's why there's such a proliferation of books, is because it's so much easier to put something together and finish it than it would have been back then. I mean, you had to be dedicated to be typing up a page at a time.
Yeah, my dad wrote his first 3 books on a typewriter, and I could not even imagine writing a book on a typewriter. I just couldn't do it.
And how many things you had to keep in your head, because you pretty much had to finish it in your head. Otherwise, you go back and throw everything away and start over when you start changing things to bring yourself to a different place.
Oh yeah, I mean,
you had a better idea.
Yeah, we have it so easy. If we want to delete something, then we hit the delete button. I walk into my dad's office when I was a kid, and the floor is just a carpet of scrunched up papers that he pulled out of the typewriter and had to restart.
Oh,
could you imagine doing that?
Yeah, I know. I was raised with the typewriter. I remember that. It was frustrating doing my papers and ruining it.
And then they came out with that the whiteout.
Whiteout.
You paint on it.
And then that ruined your paper.
Yeah.
Like, oh
And then you had
gosh.
to change the ribbon when you got out, when you're out of ink.
Yep.
Okay, we got a long comment here. I'm going to just pop it up and you guys can read it. Here we go. That's from Michelle. The pandemic opened up a world of opportunities for me. I never wrote reviews until Tina helped me understand a simple sentence will do. And I never would have met Tina without Facebook and the pandemic. I've also become a member of dozen Facebook groups and love the connect. It's a brilliant community. It really is.
Thank you.
It really is a brilliant community.
I love seeing my people that come to our pages, my pages, and talk to me. I talk to people. I try to connect every day. Usually very early. I was up at 3 a.m. this morning writing. So my characters woke me up. So I was up really early writing, and then I check in, and then I go back to writing, and then I head on out. Now that the restaurants are open, I can head out and I can go really work and not worry about the house. But it's interesting.
That is. That's something I love what you and Jack are doing is supporting your community. I love the posts that you're posting in the Napa Valley Facebook page. You guys are doing a fantastic job. I mean, going to the restaurant. I think it's great.
We support. So everybody, I don't know if you know that Jack and I started that face-to-face support local business. Local business, Napa Valley. Last February, we know people that have lost their livelihoods this year. We know restaurants that closed. We know restaurants that are really struggling even now that they're open. Now it's really important. We felt it was important for us to show up, get food taken out. For the first 3 months, we were still able to sit. Then we went outside. Then we had only takeout. And then they've opened up now 25%. Some of them are 50% right now. But now more than ever, we need to support Napa. The face of Napa has changed with the pandemic. And so even if I just go to a small store, I take a photo. Jack and I take our pictures. We went to Nickel and Nickel yesterday. It's a winery. And the manager spent an hour talking with us on the pad. It was a lovely day.
I see you. I think it's brilliant. I do.
And then the mustards, you guys. Do you know what mustards are in the Napa Valley?
Flowers? Yes, we get them here.
Little yellow mustard underneath. Yes. They were as tall as people yesterday, went right next door to Nickel and Nickel. And it was so packed on the side of the highway, we couldn't pull over to take a picture. It was packed with cars in front of it. But people were standing in the mustards and their heads were covered. You couldn't see the people in the mustards.
Do you get poppies too?
We do have poppies sporadic, yes, up in the hills.
We get a lot. We get a ton of. You do, Jack?
The vineyard owners plant the mustard because it puts a nutrient in the ground that the grapes, it enhances the grapes and the vineyard. So the reason we have so much mustard is because we sow it. So we don't sow poppy.
I didn't know that.
That's why this time of year you see all the yellow flowers where the leaves are just starting to come out of the vines. And it's pretty. We have a mustards festival, and a lot of people come up to see the mustards, but that's the reason they're there is because it's planted.
Yeah. And then they spread. They're that plant that you can plant and then they multiply.
Yeah, we have them here, but I think you get more mustards and we get more of the poppies. We're further south. We get a lot of poppies. We do. Back to your books, though. Do you have any books that you can hold up in case someone hasn't seen your books? I'm sure that is not the case, but just in case.
I've got The Neighborhood.
Okay, that's the latest one. That's the newest one. That's the one I read. I would call that like the comedy.
I do have Breakfast with the
Breakfast with the
FBI.
FBI. And that's based
This
on
one-
actual events, correct? True events, kind
This
of?
really happened. And Jack knew me when it happened. And it was a scary, scary time. I don't wish anybody having to go to work one day and find out you're sitting back and find out that your life is turned upside down. That's what happened with Breakfast with the FBI. But how would you like to go to work one day, find out the branch, you're balancing the branch and find out it's $100,000 off.
Wow.
And the manager wants you to sign for it and take responsibility for that $100,000.
No, wouldn't do it.
In my head, I was not going to do it.
No,
so
no way.
As a result of me being at work, the manager acting very suspicious, I got in my car at the end of the day. I never signed it. I went to the main branch to let the president know about it. And I found out in that one meeting, he was involved with what was happening. So what would you do when you came out of that office? I was shaking because I didn't know, who can I turn to? So I got in my car, drove straight to the police department, and they called in the FBI immediately.
Good for you.
Because it was so much money. And
well, it also took a lot of guts to do that.
Well, banking laws are federal laws. That's why it had to be the FBI.
Yeah.
Right.
But push comes to shove, you wanna do the right thing. Always.
Yeah. Well, otherwise you'd be looking over your shoulder for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You know?
And so,
no, I'm not up to you.
And then you get to the point where you're involved over your head and you don't want to do it anymore. And then you can't leave it. And you can't say, I'm not coming back to work. I said that many days. I don't want to do this anymore.
Did you go back to work? You went back to work? You went back to work?
Oh, no. During that time, I spent a year and a half. This book was a year and a half of going through this ordeal.
No, I mean, after you went to the police, you went back to work?
I had to because I was the one that was involved.
Ooh.
They used me as the informant.
Oh, wow.
I was it. I was ready to quit and they wouldn't let me. They gave me all the reasons why I couldn't quit and how I was in jeopardy. They knew I knew something. Right. They didn't know what I knew, but boy, did I find out everything. And
well, I will be reading that book. I will.
And then the one that was really near and dear to my heart is Knit 2, Purl 2, Kill 2. I mean,
I have that one, but I still haven't read it.
Oh my gosh. If you want to go through a series of emotions of what a caretaker that's trying to take care of themselves, it's so easy to get lost in caretaking and not take care of yourself while something's going on. Little did I know, I chose knitting to learn to do so I could sit with my mom for hours in the hospital. And I went to go knit with maybe one of the most wicked women on the face of the earth. I never knew women could be so bad to one another, and it happened. And I was shocked, but I was grieving my mom. I didn't pay attention until things started happening within the group. And then I thought, oh my gosh, I have this stash of yarn in my garage. I have to use it. And I have to learn how to knit as fast as I can. And they taught me how to knit, those women. And I still knit to this day. And
I see some of your work.
I'm knitting a sweater right now. Sweaters just don't make themselves. They take a lot of time. Yeah, but it's fun.
I tried knitting and I can't do it.
Oh, well, you could if we did it. We would laugh, we would rip out, we would have fun.
I tried knitting a scarf one time, and it was crooked. It started off like this, and when I got to the bottom, it was like this. I kept adding stitches.
Oh no, you did it. You have to read the learning to knit is like learning a new language, and I'm not kidding.
Totally.
It's so
crochet too. Is it knitting or crocheting you do? Is it knitting? It's knitting.
Yeah.
Do you ever crochet?
Knitting. No,
Or just
I always knit.
Always knit?
Bambi's a crocheter. Bambi crochets beautiful work. She does doilies all the time. But let me just tell you guys something really sweet. Had it wasn't for
Holly says she crochets too.
Who does?
Holly Ward. She says I crochet too. I'm not sure she's right here. Not sure I can use my left and right brain.
You know, you have to concentrate when you're doing a project. You have to pay attention. But let me tell you a really sweet story. Had it not been for Jack writing his novel, I would never have met Carolyn, his editor, who became my editor.
That's true.
And then everybody, let me tell you what everybody says. One of the first things out of their mouth when they find out we're both writers, oh my gosh, how does that work? Are you in a competition? No. You know, nobody writes the same kind of book. Even if you write the same genre, it's different sensibilities and if anything, I'm watching him. Oh, Jack makes it look so well. So do you, Tina. He makes it look so easy. And you are so you really have that attention, and you're doing it. And by God, every night you're going to write your words, right?
I do.
Yeah, I do. That's so awesome.
Yeah. And if I don't, I'm like, if I don't write my words, I go to bed pissed off, and then I don't sleep. I get so mad at myself.
You have to release it.
So I have to release it.
My next novel is going to be funny. Oh my gosh.
Oh, good. I like funny. I like funny.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to tie in some family things. And there again, as soon as I say something out loud, people say, well, your whole family thinks they're going to be in the book. And I said, no, they're not. It's like, oh my God. Because this book is so true.
Emotional, yeah.
And everybody thinks every book I write is exactly my life, and Jack's our lives. Yeah. They think it's all. Did your mother really shoot somebody? I said, no, it's fiction. It's a fiction book. I'm thinking, what are these people?
Okay, I have a question for you. You were talking about you both being writers. Have you ever thought about writing a book together?
Absolutely not.
He says no. He says no.
Well, he answered that question.
He's very competitive.
Not a chance.
Not a chance?
I don't know why you would say that. Oh my gosh. Okay, so now I know.
I thought it'd be kind of interesting. Maybe he could write the first half and you could finish it off. That way you wouldn't be writing together.
Well, finishing it off might be in what was happening, but I don't know which one of us would have gotten finished off.
I love the way he answered. That was so funny.
God, this is Jack.
That's a good one, Jack. Thank you for that one.
We have thought about writing a book.
And look, Denise is going to ask the same thing. See, that was going to be my next question. There must be another question in here from Denise. I'll go on, Denise. I'm going to see if I can find it.
So
okay, we'll put this one up and I look at Denise's question. This is from Raina. Oh no, wait, sorry. Wrong one. Hold on, there it is. There we go. Answer that when I look for Denise's question.
Oh, well, he makes it look so easy. Jack will sit down with the dog on the side of in his recliner, his computer on his lap, and the TV blaring. And he just sits there and he's just typing away. And he's finished 3 chapters and he's ready to send them off to the editor all in one sitting. It's like, it's so easy to him. And so silly me thought it would be really easy to write a book.
Do you, I mean, Erin says she likes to write in restaurants. How about you, Jack? Do you write at home or do you write outside of the house?
I grew up with 3 brothers plus my parents in a 2-bedroom house. So the only place to do homework was on the dining room table with the TV right next to me and the whole family there plus everything else. So I just learned to concentrate in the middle of the chaos. Yep. And so it just doesn't bother me. Yeah, writing is also to some extent an escape. For historical fiction, I get to put myself in the shoes of people in other times with their challenges. And with my first book, I finished writing it, but all of the characters were very wooden, very, very thin. And I coached tennis, and I took girls that were on the tennis team, and I took their personalities and put it in all the characters in the book. And then the book started making sense. What would Tina do in a situation like this? Well, in a lot of books, and it used to drive me crazy, if there's a battle nearby and there's an explosion, the hero runs toward the explosion. Well, of course they don't do that. They run the opposite way.
Right.
So trying to get into other people's minds during situations, it's really escapist, and you can really blot out the rest of the world and say, what would I do? Or what would so-and-so do?
Mm-hmm. So you got to put yourself in there.
Yeah, and a lot of it has to do with starting out by doing your research. And I read a lot of books before I start writing, so I have some understanding of what it must have been like and what the situations were and how did people react with whatever resources they had at hand.
Okay. Here's the question from, okay. That makes a lot of sense. Hold on. Here's one from Denise. Tina, here it is. A question for you both. What do you find most intriguing about each other's stories? That's a good question from Denise. Thanks for bringing it up, Denise. So I'll let you guys answer that one. Both of them.
I already said what I thought. What do you think?
Well, I have astutely been able to avoid reading any of Bridget's books, so.
He's joking. Oh my God. No.
She writes in a genre that isn't particularly appealing. It's to me.
This is horrible.
Well, to me, I mean, obviously she's got a lot of fans. A lot of people really enjoy her stuff. It's just not something that I would go out and buy a book and open it up and read in the genre.
Well, that was a good question. So.
Moving on.
Let's move on.
You have another one?
What's this one? Jack, can you watch TV and also talk to Bridget? My husband doesn't like talking while watching TV. That's from Diana.
Well, we haven't really been watching TV. We watch videos. This whole year has been horrible. So, but we do. Who wants to watch it, right?
There's nothing on TV anymore. I can't watch it. No, and half the time it doesn't work because it's streaming, and it's just TV. Watch TV nowadays is so frustrating. I like it back in the day when we had 3 channels, you know.
And with that COVID thing, you just get tired of staring at the tube.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, we both are busy enough. We go out every day. We go around the valley.
That's great.
We make sure we get out. We take drives. We do things, and it's really nice. And we keep busy otherwise. And plus, we both are working on novels. I've been doing research, even though I'm online. I'm researching, so I'm busy. I've been taking notes. I've got pages and pages of observations that I want to put in a book. So I am doing it.
I can't wait to read it. I really can't. Yeah.
And Jack has read my book, you guys. He's read Breakfast with the
FBI.
FBI.
I'm sure he has. I'm sure he has.
So
I'm sure he has.
He jokes, and you guys don't know his personality.
I'm sure he has. Yes, he does give you a hard time. But before we run out of time, I want to hand it over to you because you guys have some wonderful giveaways.
Oh, so today, everybody has liked the post or commented below, and we're giving away one signed copy of The Neighborhood and a signed copy of The Irish Storm to 2 different people. And those people will also get a $25 gift certificate to Copperfield's bookstore each. And they get to call
them $25 gift cards and a signed paperback to 2 lucky winners. Wow. Yes. Thank you so much.
They are going to be able to call the bookstore and get whatever book they want, and they will mail it to them.
And this, of course, is the local bookstore in your town that you're supporting.
So my whole thing is to support our local bookstore, and I'm trying all different ways to do that. So
you're so sweet. Well, both of you are so sweet, and I'm so happy that I finally got to talk to Jack.
I know he's got the personality.
Well, he did great. I mean, I really want to read his book, The Irish Storm. I got a lot of. Yeah, I can connect to his book because of my dad's history and my family background. So that's what I'm really. What?
I forgot. What? I got little cards. What? I got little cards that go with the gift that are hand painted roosters. Very cute cards. So this little giveaway is nice for 2 different people. So I hope you guys sign up for it.
Okay, and we will discuss after the chat how you want to do it. I can either pick them for you or you can pick the winners. It's entirely up to you. The only thing is,
you can pick them.
You want me to pick them? Because the feed for readers is on my author page and in my group. So I have to go down both comments to make sure everyone's included. I don't want to do
that. I'll let you do that.
And then what I would do is I will reach out to the winners. I'm going to do it tonight. Just so it's. You want me to wait until tomorrow night? I mean tomorrow, or do it tonight?
It doesn't matter. Whatever is convenient for you.
Okay, I'll do it tonight. I'm going to let these people. What was I going to say? Never mind. Just boom, brain freeze. I'll do it tonight, and I will text you the winners, and then I'll ask the winners to message you and let them know they have won.
Please.
And then I will leave it up to you to ship. But before we go, I do want to just give a quick hello to other people in case I didn't acknowledge you. And let's see. Hold on a second. I'm sorry. Amanda Reynolds. You know Amanda. She is here.
Hi.
There we go.
Thanks for coming.
She's here. We have
thank you, Amanda.
Yeah. Let me see. Oh, there we go. I connected even more with the pandemic than before myself through writing reviews since 2000. I think this pandemic.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think this pandemic. I wonder how many new authors we got in this pandemic. People actually sat down and wrote their book.
I bet there's a lot. There's a lot. Mm-hmm. They were either very distracted or they took advantage of having that time.
Yeah, and then Rose is here. I just want to make sure you see who's
Rose.
here. Rose is here. She says hello. Yes, Ward is an Irish name. You are right.
So is Rose.
That's it. In fact, in my group on St. Patrick's Day, I'm hijacking my group and I'm doing a St. Patrick's Day party. And I'm going to be doing giveaways and books and games and puzzles. So that'll be in my group.
This is in honor of St. Patrick's Day, our giveaway. It's in honor because tomorrow's St. Patrick's Day, right?
No, day after.
The day after.
Wednesday the 17th. Donna is here.
Oh, hi,
and she's talking about the mustard plants. And then Jack answered that question, why they planted them for the grapes. But I just wanted to scroll down so you could see who's here because unfortunately you can't see the comments. So here we have Janet. She's here and she says that's about the neighborhood.
Oh, it's so funny. Oh my gosh, you'll love Gladys. Maggie's a hoot too. And those felons. Oh my gosh.
And here's another one from Janet. Can't wait to read Breakfast with the FBI. We talked about it briefly, and she's intrigued.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you.
We had a lot of
If you
people
have any
join us
questions-
tonight.
If you
I'm
have
sorry,
any
Bridget, go
questions, let me know.
Yes, I'm looking for any questions too. If you have any questions before we head out, please put them in the comments. You have a website, right, Erina?
ErinaBridgetRing.com.
Now, is that just for your books or both?
I'm going to have Jack's books downloaded to
put
it
on there
too.
too. And your books in
I-
paperback and Kindle, correct?
Yes.
All of
Yes,
them.
all of them.
All of them, and you can also get them like at Barnes and Nobles or order from any bookstore, right? You can do that
Yes,
too.
they'll approach me. The ones that do that, they will consign to me. So yes.
Okay, all right. Here you go, Jack. I wonder if Jack will write a funny book.
If I tried, it would be totally boring.
There you go, Diana. There's your answer.
There are certain things in life that are immediately obvious.
Oh gosh, Jack.
Oh boy. All right,
Oh
guys.
my
Well, I'm going
God.
to wrap it up. Our hour is
Thank
up.
you, Tina, for
Well,
having
this
us.
has
I
been
really
so much
appreciate it.
fun. I
Thanks
love
for
talking to you guys and connecting with the readers, finding out what you're working on. But do stay online after I stop going live and we can have a little chit chat. But everyone, thank you so much for being with us. Again,
Thank you,
Erin,
Tina.
thank you, Jack.
Thank you,
so
everybody,
much
for coming. I really
Yes.
appreciate it. We both do.
Yes, and I will be announcing the winners tomorrow on my Facebook page, my author page. I will also let Bridget know so she can post on her pages too. And I'll also share this video on her pages too. So her readers that aren't here tonight can also see the chat. So I'm going to say good night, everybody. So
Good night.
good night, everybody. Thank you so much for being with us. And we will talk soon. Good night, everybody. Thank you.